Hello everyone, my name is Don and welcome to Let's Play Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. A couple things I want to mention before we actually start is that this episode is just going to be a character creation episode, so there will be no gameplay in it. Basically I'm going to be explaining the character creation and things that come with it, like your attributes and what they do and your skills and your feats and stuff, but I won't be going into too much detail. With that being said, I would also like to mention that I will be following the canon of the story in the sense that I will be a male and follow the light side. So now you are free to skip this video and go on to another if you don't want to see the character creation and the explanations on it. If you've played this game before or don't really care to know, maybe you can fast forward to the end of the video and kind of see kind of what I created and what I picked, but it's not going to be too long. I'll try to hurry up with it and not make it too much. But yeah, let's get on in here. And basically these are your you have your two genders and your three classes. You can pick a scoundrel, a scout, and a soldier. And the scoundrel is kind of like your thief, I guess you could say, and your scout, I guess, is supposed to be like your mage, but it's not really. Who knew? Your soldier is obviously your warrior type thing. Me personally, I'm gonna be a scout and a male. Like I said, I'm gonna follow the canon and also play on the light side, because there is a morality system in this game if you haven't played it before. Basically, choosing your class doesn't affect your attributes, but it does affect how many skill points you have and the feats you get preloaded to you. And some of the feats that you can select in all, I guess. But I'll get more into that a bit later. Right now, I'm going to go into the attributes, and as you can see here, there's 1, 2, 3, 6 of these that you can put points into. So your class doesn't affect your attributes at all. You determine your attributes unless you do a quick character, which I'm not doing, obviously. As you can see here, there's also a -1 modifier. So if you put 2 points into any of these, it changes it to a neutral modifier. There is no plus or minus. And you can see that I now have 28 points instead of 30. I believe that every class gets 30 points to spend into this, and I think you can change them all. You can add a couple points into it later, but I'm not too sure, because there is a level cap of 20 in this game, so that is kind of a letdown, but it's not too bad. So now I'll be explaining the attributes. Strength is basically the attack power that you do with a melee weapon, something that I'll be using quite a lot. I'm going to be playing with melee weapons mostly, not really using blasters at all, but that's just me. Dexterity is basically your attack power with ranged weapons, and it also dictates your defense. So that kind of sucks, because I wish there's just a separate rating for defense and I wouldn't have to put any points into dexterity, but oh well. I guess I don't know, maybe it's better this way, because then there's only 6 and not 7. Whatever. Your constitution is basically your health, your resistance, stuff like that. I'm going to be putting a bit more points into this, because I'd like to have a higher health than, negative. And also, as you can see here, see I have a +1 modifier now that I put 12 points into it, and now that this is 14, there's a +2 modifier. If you keep going, you can see that if I start at 12, I have 18 points, and I spend 1, then I have 17, spend 1, I have 16, but if you go past 14, it now takes 2 points to up it. And it does that until level 16, and then when you do it again, it makes it 3 points. So that's something to know. If you want to be heavy on one thing, you have to note that now it takes 3 points to get from 16 to 17 and 17 to 18, so that's 6 points in total. But you have a +4 modifier, which is pretty nice, but not for me. So I'm going to be sticking to 14 in my constitution. Intelligence is basically the amount of skill points that you have to spend later in the game. I'm going to be keeping this at a 14, and wisdom is basically your magic attack, so to speak. The reason I keep using the term like magic instead of like force powers or something is because I kind of want to not spoil some of the things, because it involves some of the stuff with the story if you kind of think about it really hard, and yeah, I kind of don't want to give any of that away. Excuse me. So yeah, I'm going to be putting some points into that, and your charisma is basically, I guess, kind of like your luck. It does affect your force-related feats and powers. It's also really useful for anyone that wants to do the kind of, these are not the droids you're looking for kind of thing, which to me is really important in this game because it makes it feel like it's Star Wars. Because that is, to me, one of the staple things about Star Wars, is using your persuasive abilities on people. Of course, a lot of games have it as well, but I think it's more important in this one than any of the others. Okay, these are your skills, and your computer use is basically how well you can slice into a terminal and disable guns and stuff like that. It's pretty sweet. It's not something that's amazing, like, I don't know. Of course it's a non-combat skill, so, but whatever. As you can see here, your related attribute is intelligence, so the reason I can level this up to 4 is because I have a higher intelligence, but as you can see on things like Persuade, your related attribute is Charisma, which I only put 12 points into, and I can only go up to 2. So upgrading your Charisma, your intelligence, and stuff like that allows you to put more points into your skills. So that's pretty much that. I'm going to keep Persuade at 2, but I'll explain that when I get to it. Demolitions is basically your arming, setting in, and disarming mines. Not really useful to me. I don't use mines. There is a point in the game where mines will become quite... you'll see them more often. So you might want to put a point or 2 into this just so that you can disarm them in the future, but for right now I have better things to spend my points on, so I'm not going to be doing any of that. Stealth I will also not be putting any points into because it's not for me. I don't really use it. I'm more of kind of like a run and gun type of person, but also using skills like computer hacking and repairing and other stuff like that. So stealth isn't for me. Awareness, I'm going to be putting a couple points into. This is basically being able to spot enemies that are using stealth packs or spotting mines. Not really too useful, but I'm only going to put a couple points into it right now because there are a few mines in the first few parts of the game. So it is useful to be able to at least see them, so that you can maybe switch to another character and disarm them, or at least to go around them so you're not ambushed by some mines. Persuade is, like I said, it's basically the these are not the droids you're looking for kind of thing, and I'm doing that like arm waving motion as I say that, like you guys can see me but you can't. Yeah, basically it's for dialogue, when you want to make somebody do something that they wouldn't normally do. Like I said, it's very important to me because it's just awesome. It's awesome making somebody do something that they didn't want to do, just because you're such a smooth, suave talker. Suave? Suave? Yeah. Repair, I'm going to be putting some points into this. Basically, you can fix mechanical things with it. Pretty self-explanatory. Security is basically opening locked doors and chests and stuff. As you can see, I can only put 2 points into it because I keep yawning, and because I don't have more than 12 points in my wisdom, I guess. I'm not sure if I did or not, but whatever. As you can see, it's a cross-class skill as well, which means that it is not a scout class skill that you have, and that might also be why, but as you can see, this is a class skill. It's not a class skill, so on and so forth. Something that I just kind of noticed right now. So, maybe that also dictates it. Who knew? Not me. Anyways, you can still put points into it in the future. You're not stuck with these. And also, as you saw that I have 20 points, that's also dictated by your class. Like, soldiers have less than scouts, and I believe that scoundrels have more than scouts in terms of points to use. But it's not too bad. It's not too big of a difference. Stop yawning, man. It's not even that late. Also, you don't have to be really too cautious with what you put your points into. You don't have to only focus on computer use and repair. Like, you can put points into pretty much everything here and get them pretty high. Even with a level cap of being at 20, you can still put quite a few points into this. Like, you're never going to find a door that will only open if you have like a 10 in security or like a 15 or something. Like, I'm not exactly sure how high it goes because I haven't played this game in a long time, but for the most part, you're not going to find stuff like that. I mean, you might, but I doubt it. We're going to go to Feats here. As you can see, these are the ones that are granted to me because of my class. Basically, scouts start with medium armor, and scoundrels start with only light, and soldiers start with heavy. So that might also be something to note. I need to take a nap. Basically, as far as I can tell, scouts don't have anything different than anyone else, but the other two classes do, which is kind of weird. You can see here your weapon proficiency. Soldiers have a third option in this, and I think all of the other ones right here, they also have a third option, and the scout and scoundrel do not. So that is also something to note. I think I'm going to be going with this, actually. It adds a +1 attack bonus with melee weapons, which, as I said earlier, I'm going to be using mostly melee weapons. The Scoundrel also comes with something specific. It's called Scoundrel's Luck. That is like right under here, and I'm not exactly sure what it does because I don't really play as a Scoundrel ever. I've played through a few times as a soldier and a few times as a scout, and I prefer scout the most. Another thing that kind of sucks is that these aren't all the feats that are available through the entire game. There are more that come later, and since with the level cap of 20, and you don't get to spend a point into this every time you level up, so you have to be really careful with what you pick, because as you can see, to get to the max level of this, it takes 3 already, and it's just for the ones of attacking, because this is an attack that you can do, and this is also an attack that you can do. Just for the melee weapons, I'm going to need another 2, 5, is there not another one? Oh, okay, 6, 7, and 8. 8 levels. I'm going to have to gain 8 levels just to get the max attacks, I guess, for my character. 8 levels. That's quite a lot, because then I only have 12 levels to put into other stuff. So you have to be really careful with that. I'll explain more about these as I go on and what each thing does. So yeah, basically, that's it. I'm going to be naming my character Don because that is my name. And in the next episode, I will play into the prologue. So thank you all for watching this really boring part. I'm sorry that it has to be so boring, but yeah, character creation is kind of boring sometimes. Anyhow, I'll see you guys next time.